All right. Happy Sabbath, everybody. Just sharing in case anybody wants to join. We're supposed to edify other believers, and there's not a lot of people that I don't think understand or even talk about this. So I guess that's my job. All right. Happy Sabbath. It's Memorial Day. If you're wondering a calendar to look at, this is pretty close from what I understand. So I'm going to drop this in here. You can look at it yourself, check it out. Also going to drop. Oh, shoot, wrong one. So copy. Drop Jubilees in here. Drop Enoch in here. In case you're not familiar. These were considered scripture before we inherited the man-made canon. And the other stuff you can look up. So all right. Let's do this. I'm Lee. Welcome. This is a reckoning for what they call the Zadok priestly calendar, which is it's just Enoch's calendar with Zadok's name slapped on it because the priest kept Enoch's calendar, which was God's calendar. Enoch is how you find the calendar. You don't do it without Enoch. So you can get it here if you want to look at it, but I'm going to drop that down. So, all right. And here you can look in Jubilee 6. This is an older translation, R.H. Charles on the screen. So he did the traditional way and translated New Moon, but modern scholars understand Hebrew, and they translate it not New Moon. Let's see if you can see it. The first day of the first month. All right. So anybody that's honest with their Hebrew, they don't translate it New Moon. Because the word isn't moon. Right. We'll get into that a little bit later. All right. So on the... So it talks about different... What it is a Memorial Day for the days, things that happen with the ark. And we're just going to drill in. There's 4 of them. Today's the fourth one. The first day of the 10th month before the end of the year. So we're just going to drill in on the 10th month here. We're not going to go through all of them. So, yeah, this here kills dispensationalism and a lot of other things that say that the law is done away with, or we're not under the law anymore because of Christ. You know, this scripture book that was taken out here says this law is going to limit days forever. Right. Plain and simple. It doesn't mean that Messiah comes and changes it, or Paul comes and changes it. It's forever. Right. It's ordained and written on heavenly tablets. That's not the feast we're talking about, but it is too. Right. So this was Shavuot, covenant renewal. So let's get down here. All right. And on, so verse 23, Jubilee 6, the first day of the first month, not New Moon, on the first day of the fourth month, and the first day of the seventh month, on the first day of the 10th month, or the days of remembrance, and the days of the seasons and the 4 divisions of the year. That's very important when you look at Enoch. So the days for the seasons and the divisions of the year. That's in Enoch also. These are written and ordained as a testimony forever. And people that use the moon, they ignore the sun, they ignore the stars. So the stars are the leaders. We'll get to that too. And Noah ordained them for himself as feasts for the generations forever, so that they have become thereby a memorial unto him. So Noah ordained them forever, right? So it goes into the first day of the first month, what happened in the flood, seventh month, and verse 27, on the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountain were seen, and Noah was glad. On this account, he ordained them for himself as feasts for memorial forever. And thus they are ordained, and they are placed on the heavenly tables. That means man can't erase them. Each had 13 weeks. Keep that in mind for Enoch. From one to another, pass from memorial, from first to second to third to fourth. All the days of the commandment will be 52 weeks of days, and a week is 7 days. 52 weeks times 7 gives you 364, not 365. And these will make the entire year complete, just like Enoch says. Thus is engraved and ordained on the heavenly tables, and there is no neglect in the commandment for a single year or from year to year. And then there's a warning for Israel, which they did, and they forgot all the seasons. So if you go to, where's that at? So it's pretty cut and dry. They're on the heavenly tables, you're not going to change them. You can change them in your mind, but you're not going to change them. So first day, the tops of the mountains were seen, right? Genesis 8, verse 5, the waters continued to abate until the 10th month, and the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains appeared. Genesis matches Jubilees, because they're both Scripture. The only thing that Jubilees doesn't match is man's interpretation of what it says. Same thing with Enoch. People read Enoch like, that don't make sense. It doesn't make sense because we haven't fixed our interpretation, right? So Noah sent out a raven, opened the window of the ark, he made, sent out a raven, it went to and fro until the waters dried up from the earth. Right. Pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, let's go this way first, and then I'll go back to Enoch. So, First Samuel 20, Jonathan said to him, tomorrow is a new month, you'll be missed because your place will be empty. On the day after tomorrow, you shall go a long way down, go to the place where you hid yourself earlier, and remain beside the stone there. All right, so he goes down. So David hid himself in the field. When the new month came, not new moon, the king set a feast to eat. The king sat upon a seat, as at other times. See, feast. Upon the seat by the wall, Jonathan stood, while Abner sat by Saul's side, but David's place was empty. The reason I bring this in is because if you don't use canon, people just switches off. So this is for everybody, right? Saul did not say anything that day, for he thought something has befallen him. He is not clean, surely he is not clean. Why would he say he is not clean? Because you can't come to a feast if you're not ritually clean. But on the second day after the new month, David's place was empty, and Saul said to his son Jonathan, why has son of Jesse not come to the feast, either yesterday or today? So it looks like they carried it over also. All right, so we're going to drill in here. So the Hebrew word, the new moon here in 1 Samuel, you can see here, Blue Letter Bible, 2018. Right. H2320, Kodesh, right? It's translated 254 times a month, and only 20 times is new moon. First day of the month. That's an interpretation. That's an interpretation, right? Because of the modern Judaic understanding of the moon starts, and the moon starts the day. The moon starts the month, right? Even though Genesis is clear, there's a great light to rule the day, Genesis 1:16. Right. So it's clearly not moon. What's the Hebrew word for moon? What's going on in here? So Genesis 37:9. Moon. Yereach. Right? Moon 26 times. Just means moon. Kodesh means new or beginning, not moon. Okay. Let's see. From the same root is Yarak. Month, moon, Yarak. The moon. Let's go back here. Completely different etymology. Kadash, right? Kadash. Renew, repair. That's the root of Kodesh, right? New, renew, repair. Doesn't have anything to do with moon, right? That's the translation. That's man injecting his understanding into what the word says. So let's go here. While we're on the topic of beginning of months. So this is the community rule in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Giza firms at the beginning of the months for their seasons and on the holy days according to their rules for remembrance in their seasons. Right? Beginning of their months and on the holy days. Remembrance in their days of remembrance in their seasons. Exhortational, yeah. I'm going to read the exhortation on the flood too. Okay, here we go. I think that's what I was looking for. So, the Temple Scroll. Again, Giza Verms. He talks about the Sabbath days. This was given to Moses on the Mount. God give the tabernacle. How did the tabernacle on the Mount? It was passed on. David gave it to Solomon. It's a good one if you want to read a little bit about that. Sometimes scholars mix things up a little bit, so you got to be aware. But he makes the connection, and then he doubles back. He doubles back on it. He makes the connections to Moses getting the Temple Scroll on Temple Mount, and then he doubles back, and a lot of time. I got echoes. Oh. That's not good. Okay. Let's see. Thanks for letting me know. Capture settings. Yep. Properties. Video capture device. Okay. Did that make it better? Did that make it better? Can you hear me? Is it still echoing? Fixed. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about that. So, yep, that was causing an echo. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, should I restart the video or? I'm 13 minutes in, but I don't want people to have to go through 13 minutes of echoing sound. Well, hopefully you could hear me good enough in the first 13 minutes that I don't have to redo the entire video. Sorry about that. All right, so here in the Temple Scroll on the Sabbath days, it gives the offering, right? And then it gives an offering on the first day of each month. You shall offer a holocaust to Yahuwah, right? On the first day. Why would he do the first day of each month, right? This is the burnt offering of each month. On the first day of the first month, the month shall start, first month of the year to you. Sounds just like what he told him in the Exodus, right? And then you go to, where's it at? 15th. Yeah, but it gives a, so the 7th month, first day of the month, we know that lines up with Noah's feast, Day of Atonement, right? Or 10th of the month, Day of Atonement. Trumpets, first day of the 7th month. Sorry. Let's see. 15th of this month. I can't remember if they had the 10th month in here or not. Four corners of the courtyard. Yeah, that's going into the temple. Yeah, if you didn't hear me before, the temple scroll was given to Moses on the mount. The pattern that Solomon used to build the temple. Good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to stop on that. Let's go to the next one. All right, so if you missed me earlier, I went over Jubilees. Noah ordained the feast. Genesis 8 matches up with what Jubilee says. 1 Samuel 20 gives a new month feast. And then I went over the Hebrew word that they translate new moon does not match new month. So let's go into Enoch. So this confuses a lot of people. I'll try to break it down a little bit. So chapter 72, and I have, by no means do I have everything figured out, right? Just know that. I just know a few things. Praise Yah. What are y'all doing, man? And that day the sun rises. Let's see. I guess something's not wanting me to accomplish this stream here. All right, so this is the end of the year, verse 32, equal day, equal night, year is complete. All right, so go back. And it is, what verse was it? Sun rises on that day from second portal, sets in second portal. All right, so on that day, so this 31 day is the end of the quarter. So first quarter, 91 days, second quarter, 91, 91, 91, 3 months each, 30, 30, 31 is the months, okay? So 31 will be the last day or the last month of the quarter. On that day, the night becomes longer and amounts to double the day. Night amounts to exactly 12 parts of the day to 6. The sun has therewith traversed the division of his orbit, turns again on those divisions of his orbit, enters the portal 30 mornings, and sets also west opposite to it. And on that night has the night decreased in length by a ninth part, and the night has become 11 parts, and the day 7 parts. And the sun is returned and entered in the second portal in the east, and returns on those his divisions of his orbit for 30 mornings, rising and setting. And on that day, the first day of the new quarter, the night decreases in length. So we've been increasing until the night doubles the day. So now when the season switches, that's why a lot of people do the festivals celebrating the sun coming back and the days getting longer. That's what this is, the head of winter. So on that day, the night decreases in length. Night amounts to 10 parts, day to 8. On that day, the sun rises from that portal, sets in the west, returns to the east, and rises in the third portal for 1 and 30 mornings, sets in the west of heaven. On that day, so that would be the end not double a day would be the end of this quarter. Trying to make it make sense. That's the end of the last quarter. I went too far. Yeah, so it's difficult if you don't. Let me try again. This can get extremely complicated fast. Sorry. First, there goes forth the great luminary named the sun, right? When the day starts, right? And this is when the calendar starts with the sun, right? So if you skip the sun, you go to the moon, you lose it completely, right? You got to know the sun first. So let me get on through here and make sure I get it right this time. 30th morning. 1:30 morning. So the first quarter, end of the first quarter. And 30 mornings. And this might help somebody that's struggling with it. If I'm struggling with it, there you go. 30 mornings. 1:30 mornings. Second quarter. That's what we just finished. No. Hold on. We're on third quarter. We just finished the third quarter. Sorry. Right. 30 mornings. I'm trying not to read every single thing, you know. Okay, 31 mornings. End of the third quarter. Okay, so I did read the right thing. I just went too far. Right. There we go. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't mess it up. So there you go. And then, so yes. So we're at this is the third quarter, and the year will be complete at the end of this quarter. Okay, that's why I was messing up. Yeah. This is it. This is the quarter we're in, right? So the days start growing longer. So that's one thing you can look for. Besides the sun switching gates, you can look for the days growing longer and shorter, night growing longer and shorter. That's what he's going through here. All right. So Enoch 72, this is the quarter we're on right here. Well, this is the end of the one. And the beginning of the next one, 30, 30, 31, right? That's how you mark the quarter. Then you know where you're at, 31, right? 30, 30, 31, right there. And then the year starts over. This is the end of the year, and then it starts back up here. I think that's where people mess up too. The first time that he showed me this, I read 72, and then for some reason I started back at the beginning, and it clicked. So read to the end and go back and read the beginning, and it connects together, right? Because this is the beginning of the year. Read it a few times. Go through, start over again. Go through, start over again, right? Should click for you. So go here. And I skipped past that because they did keep up with the moon at the Dead Sea Scrolls. But the moon is highly erratic, and it's hard for me to follow. If anybody figures out the moon, good. I seen the full moon land on Feast of Trumpets a couple years ago, and that was cool because that means it matches, right? But the moon doesn't operate the way people think it does. So, right. So here's Enoch 74, the sun and stars bringing all the years exactly. The sun and the stars, 364, just like Jubilee said. And he even tells you the moon makes the calendar fall. It falls behind the sun, right? The year is completed in conformity with their world stations, this time about the stars and the stations of the sun, which rise from the portals. We'll see that in just a second, through which the sun rises and sets 30 days. The stars rise through the same portal the sun does. Okay. Try to follow me. Chapter 75, the leaders of the heads of the thousands stars, who are placed over the whole creation and over all the stars. The leader stars are placed over the constellations and the other stars. Have also to do with the 4 intercalary days, 4, just like Jubilees, being inseparable from their office according to the reckoning of the year, and these render service on the 4 days which are not reckoned in the reckoning of the year. And owing to them, men go wrong therein, for those luminaries truly render service on the royal stations. And it tells you the portals that the sun's in when you see these luminaries. And the separate 364 stations is, yeah, we won't get into that. So for the signs, all right, so let's go down. Quarters, 78. '79. There it goes again, right? The moon falls behind the sun, and the order of the stars exactly 5 days in the course of one period, right? It tells you the sun, the stars bring in the year, the moon falls behind. Okay. You don't use the moon for that. The moon is for feasts. That's what, it lights up like Feast of Trumpets. You're doing Feast of Trumpets and you're celebrating at nighttime and the full moon lights up the sky. They wouldn't have electricity back then, right? So you need the moon. The moon is for feast. That's what Genesis says, and Sirach, Ecclesiasticus says, the right translation. So here, Enoch 80. Yeah, says a little bit. I'm just skipping around a little bit. I don't want to read all of it. So here, 82, right? Verse 2, I have given wisdom to thee and to thy children, and thy children that shall be to thee, that they may give it to their children for generations, that wisdom, namely, that passeth their thought. Those who understand it shall not sleep, but shall listen with the ear, that they may learn this wisdom. It shall please those that eat thereof better than good food. Blessed are all the righteous, blessed are all those who walk in the way of righteousness. That's all over the scriptures, Old Testament, New Testament, the way of God, period. And sin not as the sinners in the reckoning of all their days in which the sun traverses the heaven. Feasts are included in God's commandments, right? If you're doing them on the wrong day at the wrong time, you're not doing them. Just, not saying I've got it on the right day or time, but if I've got it wrong, I'm not doing it right. That's how God looks at it. Right, wrong. There's no gray area. Oh, he tried. I mean, maybe he tried, but still, it's not accurate if you're not doing it correctly. Entering into and departing from the portals for 30 days with the heads of thousands of the order of the stars. Right? Sun entering into and departing from the portals for 30 days with the heads of thousands of the orders of the star, together with those four stars, which are intercalated, which divide the four portions of the year, which lead them and enter with them 4 days. Owing to them, men shall be at fault, and not reckon them in the whole reckoning of the year. Yea, men shall be at fault, and not recognize them accurately. For they belong to the reckoning of the year, and are truly recorded thereon forever. One in the first portal, third, fourth, 6 years completed, 364 days. Now, see, it said something kind of contradictory in a passage before, but now it says they belong in the reckoning of the year, right? So the Enoch we have is not perfect, if anybody didn't know. That trips people up too. And the account thereof is accurate and recorded, reckoning thereof exact for the luminaries and months and festivals and years and days has Uriel shown and revealed to me, to whom Yahuwah of the whole creation of the world has subjected the host of heaven. Right? These are the orders of the stars, which set in their places and in their seasons and festivals and months. So it's not just the sun, stars. Then it goes through, it names the leader and it names the season. So the season goes with the star. 2 of them are missing because we don't have a full chapter 82. It's broken off. So we just got what we got. Just do the best with what we got. All right. All right, time for a visual. And the thing I pulled up this morning said that the day grew longer by a minute. So that's a good sign. Let's see, Stellarium. Where's it at? I thought I had it pulled up. Stellarium. There we go. Yeah. So Stellarium. Like I said, nothing's perfect. We're doing the best we can do, right? So drop back. This is the Stellarium app. I guess I could drop a link if anybody wants to check it out. Copy. I definitely don't have it all figured out, you know. But I think I'm pretty close. Praise y'all. All right, so I went to the 16th, and I'm going to drag this thing ahead here to the 17th in morning. All right. You ever wonder why Japan's called the land of the rising sun? Because it's in the east where the sun rises. All right. All right. So let me zoom in here. Can I zoom in? I should be able to zoom in. Yeah. All right. So there's the sun rising in the east. And you can click through different months. You can see the sun switches portals, right? It's coming out of a portal there. You just can't see the portal. So if you go to, all right, so you see that Venus, freak, hang on. I'm trying to get it so you can see it. All right, see that? See Venus rising with the sun? Watch this. See if I can get it to go. Okay, here, watch it. Watch the sun and the star. See how they're rising together? See it? The star is leading the sun the entire day, all the way to sunset. That's the leader. That's why Enoch said it's the leader. Okay. All right. So skip that. Also, see this constellation here? The sun is rising in a constellation. What's the constellation? It goes with the sun the entire day. And the sun, just like Enoch says, stays in the constellation for 30 days. Now, the leader in the constellation is separate, right? The leader is the fixed star that brings in the month or the season. The constellation is for each month. So each month, the sun is rising and setting in a constellation, and it stays in the constellation the entire month. So you can see if I skip over here to say January 17th, so you got, what is this? That's Scorpion or whatever they call it. Yeah. Okay, so you got that Ophiuchus, whatever the, heathen names. So you go, and next month, it switched over to Sagittarius, right? This would probably be better. So I'm gonna go here, watch the sun move, and the constellations move a little bit each day till you get to the next month, and bam, the sun's in a different constellation. See, I mean, just like Enoch said. And if you want to follow the moon, you can follow the moon, but watch the moon. You like moon's just all over the place, like, and people use the moon for their calendar. The moon's just flip flopping all over the place. Makes no sense. So God is a God of order, not chaos. But yeah. So I just felt like I'd put that out there. Maybe somebody needed to hear it. I don't know. Praise Yah if it helped you. Let's see. Exhortation. All right, so this is exhortation on the flood, Giza Worms. I and he crown. That's interesting. I and he. I never noticed that. Oh, maybe that's a one. And he. Okay. Yeah, 1, 2. Okay. And he crowned the mountains with produce and poured food on them, and he satisfied every soul with good fruit. Whoever does my will, let him eat and be satisfied, says the Lord, and let them bless my holy name. But behold, they have done what is wicked in my eyes, says, it's not capitalized, so I'm not sure if that's his name or not. Says the Lord, they rebelled against God through their actions, and the Lord judged them according to all their ways and according to the thoughts of the inclination of their evil hearts. And he thundered at them in his power, and all the foundations of the earth trembled, and the waters burst forth from the abysses, and the windows of heaven opened, and all the abysses overflowed with mighty waters, and the windows of heaven emptied out rain, and he destroyed them by the flood. Therefore everything perished on dry land, and men and beasts, birds and winged creatures died, and the giants did not escape. Hear that, God culture? Giants did not escape. It says the same thing in Genesis. Giants did not escape. He killed everything. Same thing in Peter? Only 8 survived. And God made a sign and set his bow in a cloud, that he might remember the covenant, that there might no more be on earth waters of flood, and that the mass of waters might not be let loose. Okay, so if he did away with the law of Moses, why didn't he do away with this one? That's for the church. No, he's in a habit of doing away with covenants and laws, right? Not. Combined their wickedness, when they know how to distinguish between good and evil. So there's broken parts off. For behold, they sprout forth like grass, but a shadow are their days on the earth. And now pray, hearken to me, my people, heed me. This is Israel. When he says my people, it's Israel, period. Heed me, O you simple, for from everlasting to everlasting he will have mercy. The might of Yahuwah, remember the miracles which he did in Egypt, and his marvels in the land of Ham. Let your heart shake because fear of him, and your soul rejoice according to his good graces. So no fear, no joy. Makes sense. He's a good father. Fear him. This right here, they sprout forth like the grass. Sounds like Isaiah 44. That's an end times verse. Go check that out. So the admonition on the flood is connected to the end, right? Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Yisrael, whom I have chosen. See who he's talking to? His people. Thus saith Yahuwah that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou, Yeshurun, whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring. And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the water courses. One shall say, I am Yahuwah's. Another shall call himself by the name of Jacob. Another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahuwah, and surname himself by the name of Yisrael. Thus saith Yahuwah, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, Yahuwah of hosts, I am the first, I am the last, and beside me there is no God. First Peter 3. I just read the chapter here. No, let's go. Verse 8, finally, all of you have unity of spirit, sympathy, love for one another, a tender heart, and a humble mind. Do not repay evil for evil or abuse for abuse, but on the contrary, repay with a blessing. It is for this that you are called, that you might inherit a blessing. For those who desire to love life and to see good days, let them keep their tongues from evil and their lips from speaking deceit. Let them turn away from evil and do good. Let them seek peace and pursue it. For the eyes of Yahuwah are on the righteous. So all the stuff he said right there pertains to this. You don't separate away. So turning from evil and doing good, doing God's commandments. Seeking peace and pursuing it is doing God's commandments. Not let your lips speak deceit, not twist God's commandments. His commands. That's truth. For the eyes of you who are on the righteous, and his ears are open to their prayer. Proverbs 28. The prayer of the wicked is an abomination. Whoever turns his ear from hearing the law. Same thing. People like to separate the Old and the New Testament. It doesn't work that way. You separate it, you lose the meaning. Proverbs 28:9, he that turns his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be an abomination. Right? Somebody tells you, or your brother or sister says, you're breaking God's law there, and you just ignore what they're saying, you're turning your ear from hearing the law. But the face of Yahuwah is against those who do evil. Okay, so his eyes are on the righteous, and his ears are open to their prayer. His face is against those who do evil. He doesn't listen to their prayers, right? Now, who will harm you if you're eager to do what is good? But even if you do suffer for doing what is right, you are blessed. Do not fear what they fear, and do not be intimidated, right? Fear God. But in your heart, sanctify Messiah as Lord. Always be ready to make your defense to anyone who demands from you an accounting for the hope that is in you, yet do it with gentleness and respect. Maintain a good conscience so that when you are maligned, those who abuse you for your good conduct in Messiah may be put to shame. What's good conduct? Keeping God's law. For it is better to suffer for doing good, keeping God's law, if suffering be God's will, than to suffer for doing evil. For Messiah also suffered for sins once for all, the righteous for the unrighteous, because he kept God's law perfectly, in order to bring you to God, right? He suffered for the unrighteous to bring you to God, not to leave you here, right? Not to leave you unrighteous, bring you to God. He was put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the spirit, in which also he went, made a proclamation to the spirits in prison. Who's that? Who in former times did not obey when God waited patiently in the days of Noah during the building of the ark, in which a few, that is 8 lives, were saved through water. So it's referencing the people in the flood that did not obey. And what did we just get done talking about? Doing good, keeping God's law, being righteous. What's he talking about here pre-flood? They did not obey. What are they doing? They're lawbreakers, commandment breakers, right? He saved Noah. Noah was found righteous in his generation. All the rest were wicked, breaking God's law. What do you think is going to happen now? Think God changed? He just got up one day and put his pants on backwards and said, I'm going to do this different today. God is not fickle like us. Okay. We get up one day and say something, the next day we change our mind. God doesn't do that. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Genesis 6:9, these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. Perfect. Why was he saved from the flood? Because he was perfect. He was righteous. And his family was saved because of him. Okay. And baptism, which this prefigured, now saves you, not as a removal of dirt from the body, but as an appeal to God for a good conscience through the resurrection of Messiah Yahusha, who has gone into heaven and is at the right hand of God with angels, authorities, and powers made subject to him. Okay. So he came and died for our sake, right? So you can be redeemed back to God. Even Manasseh, when he prayed, he was forgiven. Wicked king. God did it back then. He can do it now, right? Yep. So Hebrews 11. Probably end with this right here. So here, by faith, Abel offered to God a more acceptable sacrifice than Cain's. Why was Abel doing sacrifices if the law wasn't until Moses? So if he did away with Moses' law, did he do away with Abel's law? Noah's covenant? Does it make sense? Through this, he received approval as righteous. God himself giving approval to his gifts. He died, but through his faith, he still speaks. You can see that in Enoch. And Genesis, God said, your blood cries out from the ground. And Enoch, he's in a chamber awaiting the judgment. And he was crying out before the flood for vengeance on Cain for killing him. By faith, Enoch was taken so that he did not experience death, and he was not found because God had taken him. For it was attested before he was taken that he had pleased God. Righteous. And without faith, it is impossible to please him. For whoever would approach God must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who seek him. By faith, Noah, warned by God about events as yet unseen, respected the warning and built an ark to save his household. By this, he condemned the world and became an heir to the righteousness that is in accordance with faith. The righteousness that is in accordance with faith. How they do that? They believed and they kept God's commandments. They believed him when he said something and they did it. By faith, Abraham obeyed when he was called to set out for a place that he was to receive as an inheritance, and he set out not knowing where he was going. By faith, he stayed for a time in the land he had been promised, as in a foreign land, living in tents, as did Isaac and Jacob, who were heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked forward to the city that has foundations, whose architect and builder is God. By faith, with Sarah's involvement, he received power of procreation, even though he was too old, because he considered him faithful who had promised. You got to believe God's promises. If God says something, take it to the bank. He likes when you believe what he says, right? He said, I'm going to bring you out of the nations and bring you into the land. Believe it. Don't doubt. Therefore, from one person, and this one as good as dead, descendants were born, as many as the stars of heaven, and as the innumerable grains of sand by the seashore. All these died in faith without having received the promises, but from a distance they saw and greeted them. They confessed that they were strangers and foreigners on the earth. For people who speak in this way make it clear that they are seeking a homeland. If they had been thinking of the land that they had left behind, they would have had opportunity to return. But as it is, they desire a better homeland or country, that is a heavenly one. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God. Indeed, he has prepared a city for them, New Jerusalem, the resurrection. Is this our country? Are we tied to the world? Right? By faith, Abraham, when put to the test, offered up Isaac. He who had received the promises was ready to offer up his only son, of whom he had been told, it is through Isaac that the descendant shall be named for you. He considered the fact that God is able even to raise someone from the dead. He believed in the resurrection. And figuratively speaking, he did receive him back. By faith, Isaac invoked blessings for the future on Jacob and Esau. By faith, Jacob, when dying, blessed each of the sons of Joseph, bowing in worship over the top of his staff. By faith, Joseph, at the end of his life, made mention of the exodus of the Israelites and gave instructions about his burial. Yep, I agree. So by faith, Joseph knew what was going to happen in the future and gave instructions about his burial. God's showing us now what's coming. Believe it. By faith, Moses was hidden by his parents for 3 months after his birth because that they saw that the child was beautiful and they were not afraid of the king's edict. By faith, Moses, when he was grown up, refused to be called a son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to share ill treatment with the people of God than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. He considered abuse suffered for Christ to be greater wealth than the treasures of Egypt, for he was looking ahead to the reward. Now that's interesting. I thought the patriarchs didn't know about that. Moses considered abuse suffered for the Messiah. By faith he left Egypt unafraid of the king's anger, for he persevered as though he saw him who is invisible. By faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, so that the destroyer of the firstborn would not touch the firstborn of Israel. Where do you get that at? That's in Jubilees, chapter 49, 48. Exactly what happened. By faith, the people passed through the Red Sea as if it were on dry land, but when the Egyptians attempted to do so, they were drowned. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell after they had been encircled for 7 days. By faith, Rahab the prostitute did not perish with those who were disobedient, because she had received the spies in peace. Disobedient, not good. And what more should I say? For time would fail me to tell of Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, of David and Samuel and the prophets, who through faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, obtained promises, shut the mouths of lions, quenched the power of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, were made strong out of weakness, became mighty in war, put foreign armies to flight. What's up with these people? They are righteous. All righteous. They made mistakes because they're people, right? But they weren't wicked people. They were righteous. Women received their dead by resurrection. Others were tortured, refusing to accept release in order to obtain a better resurrection. Others suffered mocking or flogging and even chains and imprisonment. They were stoned to death. They were sawn in two. They were killed by the sword. They went about in skins of sheep and goats, destitute, persecuted, and tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and mountains and caves and holes in the ground. Dead Sea Scrolls. Yet all these, though they were commended for their faith, did not receive what was promised, since God had provided something better, so that they would not, apart from us, be made perfect. When Israel returns, they get resurrected. They get to go home too. So, all right. Hope that was a blessing and helpful to somebody. And if you got anything to add, drop a comment. And for those keeping the day today, have a good Sabbath, and hope to see y'all next time.